Hello, this is Twesa Takula. Welcome to Zodiac News live from the Adbridge Center, coming up at this hour. Public Accounts Committee of Parliament tells Reserve Bank Governor and his management team to resign. Find out why. Tax evasion suspects Mr. Mpio and Mr. Lutepo to remain in police custody till courts become operational again. Malawi goes business as usual on a day when the country's founding president Hastings Kamuzubanda died some 17 years ago. Analyst laments the trend. And elsewhere, dozens killed in deadly flooding in Morocco. Stay tuned for details of these plus more in a moment. The Public Accounts Committee of Parliament this morning called for the resignation of Reserve Bank of Malawi governor and his management team due to what it says was laxity in the clearing of government checks used to siphon public funds. The committee made the position when it met officials from the Reserve Bank of Malawi to demand answers to how cashgate suspects managed to withdraw huge sums of government money easily. Member of PAC, Peter Chakwanta, said the committee lost trust in the bank.
Contrary to our expectations, we noticed that the delegation, which comprised of the Deputy Reserve Bank Governor, they were not even taking the proceedings seriously, where they were so mean or economic with information against what we already know or have through Begatile reports, where the report of Begatile points also at the Reserve Bank of Malawi as to be part and parcel of the system that saw the taxpayers' money missing.
But in reaction, Reserve Bank of Malawi Deputy Governor Operations Meg Kajianike declined to comment on the resignation cause, but said the bank acted to the best of what was required in the process of clearing all government checks.
As far as the banking system is concerned, checks that were issued by government, even the ones that were issued under cashgate, were valid payment instruments. They were valid instruments issued by the owner and met all technical and security requirements for the Reserve Bank to clear the check. And it should once again be understood that our role bordered on checking all these necessary requirements and clearing the checks.
Earlier on Monday, the Anti-Corruption Bureau told PAC it does not take seriously alleged confessions made by Mr. Oswald Lutepo, implicating former President Dr. Joyce Banda as the main beneficiary of the cashgate proceeds. SCB Deputy Director Reinik Matemba said prosecutors will wait until the allegations are made in the court of law. Here is Mr. Matemba.
If you recall why I had to say that, because I was asked the question, are you going to summon Mr. Lutepo to explain to the Bureau regarding the sentiments or the comments or revelations that he made on Zodiak? We said no. We will not go to Mr. Lutepo. If he wants to come to us, let him come to us. I said that because Mr. Lutepo has been to our offices before. He told us a different story. And as you might be aware, Mr. Lutepo has made several statements in the media, different statements. What I told the party was, as a bureau, we would not want to be seen to be so desperate and jumping, chasing Mr. Lutepo on what he's saying. He is entitled to say what he said. That's his opinion, that's his assessment, and with freedom of speech, he can say whatever he wants to say. But we do not want, as a bureau, to be associated with a person who has been discredited, not by us, but by some other people. And again, the other reason why I said that was because we do not want to be seen as if we are targeting certain individuals.
Well, soon after Mr. Lutepo made the allegations on Friday, constitutional lawyer Justin Zonzi predicted several implications, both in and out of court.
I think there would be a number of effects of such a development. at the personal level, as a person who is himself facing criminal charges, and then he has just made a public admission, one would expect that from this point onwards, he's also going to plead guilty in court, so that then we do not waste time in terms of trying to bring evidence to prove the matters against him. But to the extent that he also implicates others, then that complicates investigations, in the sense that he has specifically mentioned the former head of state. Now, if the investigators do not find any evidence against the former head of state, then it will create a public perception that the former head of state is being shielded from the arm of the law. On the other hand, if the investigations should be commenced immediately against the former head of state because of the statement which Mr. Lutepo has made, then one also fears the possibility that the investigating authorities are simply acting on the whims of a person who is himself answering criminal charges. So it does have the implication that either way, it undermines the processes going on. One would have anticipated that this kind of confession should have been made formally by him to the appropriate authorities, so either the court or the lawyers who are involved.
In the event that this confession has been made in the media, do the courts have the powers to make reference to them?
No, the courts cannot make to the confessions made in the media, because the court would have to be directed by the available evidence. However, in terms of the actual judicial proceedings, the chances are higher that lawyers will keep referring to this. So, for instance, if Mr. Lutepo does not change his plea in court, he maintains that he is innocent, then the defense lawyers or the prosecution lawyers will refer to this interview and say, but you gave this interview in which you admitted. So somehow it's going to get back into the court, but not directly from the media, but I think through the reference and admissions that Mr. Lutepo is going to make in court when the matter comes up for hearing.
This also comes at a time when investigations are ongoing. Don't you think the confession would redirect the attention of these investigators?
Yeah, it would, particularly if the investigators are not being careful about it. This could be used as a deflection, trying to throw them off balance certain things by providing gratuitously certain information. Now, if the investigators are going to be led by nothing more than the need to find certain things, then it is possible that they could be misled easily by this kind of confession.
So legally, what are the implications of such a confession?
Well, it is highly prejudicial, because not only does it affect his rights, it also affects the manner in which the court is going to go about the case. It also affects the rights of other individuals who may not have an equal opportunity to respond to the issues. And even then, even if they were to respond through the media, maybe the consequence of such a response may not be any significant in terms of public perception. So it is a very highly prejudicial action, one which perhaps his lawyers should have advised against.
Malawi Revenue Authority says it will wait for the courts to be operational to proceed with cases for 4 people arrested in connection with alleged tax evasion. The 4 include Mr. Oswald Lutepo and Mr. Pompeo, who are also connected to Cashgate. Deputy Director of Corporate Affairs at MRA, Mr. Steve Kapuloma, told ZBS that any bail issues regarding these suspects will depend on decisions from the courts. Jacqueline Clemmer has more.
It's been 5 days now since MRA effected the arrests of 3 people on tax evasion cases, and the 3 included former Budget Director Mr. Pompeo. And a day ago, MRA also arrested key Cashgate suspect Mr. Oswald Lutepo. MRA Deputy Corporate Manager Mr. Steve Kapuloma told Zodiak TV that MRA will proceed with the cases of these 4 when courts are inoperational, although it remains hazy as to when the feud between Treasury and judiciary staff will end.
The MRA will take the suspect to court when the courts are operational. I think the issue of bail is an issue of the court, so MRA would not want to comment on that.
Meanwhile, lawyer for Mr. Lutepo, Oswald Mtupira, has requested for consideration from MRA with regard to police bail for his client. Lutepo is said to be unwell and hospitalized at Kamuzu Central Hospital.
I talked to Mr. Lutepo about 10 minutes ago, and he complained that he still has chest problems. He has chest pains and he has backaches, and he is not breathing properly. We have tried to liaise with the Malawi Regional Authority for consideration that he could be granted bail because of health conditions. However, they had indicated that they are waiting for authority from some higher powers. So because of that, there is nothing which has been done. Otherwise, it still remains in custody.
The other two suspects are Shiraz Ferreira and Nelson Johans Kaua, and they too, according to MRA, are still on remand for alleged tax evasion. For Zodiac TV News, this is Jacqueline Shema reporting.
The World Health Organization says there is need to strengthen national response to Ebola in Malawi. World Health Organization country representative Dr. Eugene Nyako says increased participation of all sectors to eliminate the spread of Ebola is critical to ensuring the virus is kept at bay. She spoke after presenting a donation of assorted equipment to Ministry of Health to help in Ebola prevention efforts. Charles Wahara reports.
The World Health Organization says that this is a commitment to ensure that the country is prepared to tackle any possible Ebola outbreak. WHO country representative Dr. Eugene Nyako observes that without efforts from other health players, it will be difficult for countries to eliminate the virus.
Ebola preparation has been going on since we heard of the first case in West Africa, and this has consisted of various type of activities. What we've done today is to present to the government some items that can help, especially with the protection of the health workers who will be working in the facilities and also at the border points should there be an Ebola case here. So we believe that it is going to add to what the government already has and what other partners have already provided so that we strengthen our preparedness status as much as possible. Because we believe at this time, just training the health workers is not adequate if they do not have enough resources that they can use to both protect themselves and also to facilitate the work they have to do. We are here to work with the government to make sure health gets the best for the people and the citizens of this country, and therefore we will continue with this. We have been working with the Ministry of Health in various areas. Ebola is just one of the conditions that has become important today, and therefore we have to come into support. But we are aware that there are several other partners who are also providing resources and other support to the ministry. So yes, we are here to stay and work with the government to make sure that the health becomes something that is a right for everybody in the country, and therefore we are able to provide the best we can to meet the needs of the population.
The donation includes 200 personal protective pieces and laboratory equipment, which is used to collect specimens. Minister of Health, Dr. Jean Kalilani, who received the donation on behalf of the Malawi government, held the timely donation.
We've just received a contribution from the World Health Organization to the fight against Ebola viral disease. This is various numbers of medical supplies like protective wear, and there are also other items like bicycles, motorcycles, and containers to collect specimens for Ebola virus. This is very commendable indeed, and it's going to go a long way to help us strengthen our preparedness in the fight against Ebola.
Dr. Kalirani added that so far, there has never been any Ebola case reported in the country. This is the second time that the Ministry of Health has received a donation of equipment from WHO in the fight against the Ebola pandemic, which has killed over 5,000 people, mainly in Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. For Zodiac TV, this is Charles Wahara.
Now, the social media has from last week been awash with this horrendous video, a nanny abusing a toddler in Uganda. According to the BBC, the video has been watched more than 21 million times in just 4 days on Facebook. The disturbing footage was taken from a camera hidden in the corner of the living room and shows the woman, Jole Tumuhire, 22, hitting the 18-month-old girl when she resists feeding. We ask whether such abuse to children happens in Malawi's setup, why, and what impact it has on the upbringing of children. Please be advised that viewer discretion is advised because some of the pictures in the video are quite disturbing. Here is Mr. Lazarus Nsukwa, a psychologist.
I've watched the clip, and my assessment is I think there are some other problems that the housemaid might have been going through, which may need further assessment. Of course, the police in Uganda have made their assessments and have ruled out any mental problems, that she was of a sound mind. But when you look at the clip and the type of beating, you would say that was just displaced anger that the woman had. So the child is just a victim of some other circumstances that woman might have been going through. Probably the relationship with her masters, family issues. Of a special note might be the age of the housemaid.
Do you think this is happening here in Malawi?
Yes, there might be many cases that have not been reported. I'll give examples that might be there in the sense that most of the housemaids that we employ would be those that have problems at home, they have been jobless, or they have been separated, and they have issues to deal with before they get employed. So in Malawi, you don't have a system where you clean out the house. You just get somebody passing by the road, is jobless, when you don't get take care of my child. So that is dangerous because that person might be going through her own issues that may not have been resolved. And most of these people that we get, we don't have any clear information about their background, the way they've been brought up, what issues have been affecting them. And we don't even send them for assessment in terms of mental status, how mentally stable they are. We don't go for those assessments in Malawi. So that puts us in a higher risk.
A reminder that you're watching News on Zodiac, coming to you live from the Outreach Center in Lilongwe. We still have more to come shortly after this break.
It's on.
It's on.
It's on. Game on. The Family Brain Showdown, the game show. The Triple Threat TV show is on. Represent your family, represent your region, stand out from the rest. 4 members, 3 regions, 24 families. 1 family to win it all. Realize a dream to stardom for the whole family. Auditions are here in Mzuzu on 29 and 30 November at the Grand Palace Hotel. Application forms can be collected at Zodiac offices located at Old Mutual Building, or you can download the forms at www.zodiacmalawi.com. Also call us on the following number:
0997 101 991, 0882 860 760.
Be part of the Family Brain Showdown.
Dear Boom, when me and my brother were little kids, making a mess was our favorite part of helping Mom. My goodness, the mess that we used to make. We were just so engrossed in the whole experience of the magic of baking our favorite chocolate cake. I realized why she never shouted at us. She never minded the mess because there was something much bigger going on here. She spent time with us. Now that I'm older, I use every opportunity that I can to spend time with my kids.
Cherish those fun chores and let Boom take care of the hard ones with its powerful stain removal properties.
Every story has a hero. Every mother has a story.
Boom, every mom has a story.
Welcome back, and as we continue, another look at our main news. Public Accounts Committee of Parliament says the Reserve Bank of Malawi acted carelessly in the processing of the cashgate checks. tax evasion suspects Mr. Mpio and Mr. Lutepo to remain in police custody till courts become operational again. Malawi goes business as usual on a day the country's founding president Hastings Kamuzubanda died some 17 years ago. Analysts lament the trend. And elsewhere, dozens killed in deadly flooding in Morocco. Malawi's first and founding president Hastings Kamuzubanda died 17 years ago today, but the country goes on with business as usual, as neither government nor family has organized any event to honor the fallen hero. Government spokesperson Kondwani Nankuma and Kamuzu family representative Ken Kanodo Tuesday confirmed to Zodiak no activity to remember the life of Kamuzu has been arranged. A political commentator, Joseph Chunga, has lamented the trend, saying it emanates from politicians. Malik Munela reports.
On 25th November 1997, the country lost the Ngwazi Dr. Hastings Kamuzubanda at the age of 99. Millions mourned, as he was a leader many credited for fighting against the minority white rule for the country to gain its independence in 1964. During his 30-year-old reign, the Ngwazi was criticized for governing with an iron fist, but his development agenda made him a darling to many. Even today, the footprint of his landmark infrastructure stands tall. However, his legacy seemed to have been forgotten. Political analyst Joseph Chunga blames this trend to politicians.
At some point, politicians wanted to kind of delete whatever he had to contribute in the history of Malawi by renaming whatever infrastructure was named after him. Then we had another era where somebody came back and restated almost everything. And this time around, we're back into that silent mode. And I think what we should be thinking is, how do we, without it dependent on what the politicians decide from time to time, honor those people who have contributed to this country?
But Minister of Information, Kondwani Nankuma, said Ngwazi Dr. Banda will now be accorded the respect he deserves.
50 years down the line, Kamuzu's footprints are still seen across the country as regards to the development initiated. We can say yes, but as a new government that has been there for some 5 months or so, we have not yet finalized our thoughts as to how best we can handle issues to do with late Hastings Kamuzubanda. But in no time we'll be announcing what we have in so that we continue honoring this fallen hero who stood fearlessly and fought fearlessly for the general development and again well-being for Malawians.
It's exactly 17 years since Ngwazi Dr. Hastings Kamuzubanda died. But the nation seemed to have forgotten this great man. Today, no person has even come to pay respects to the fallen hero. Kamuzu might have been forgotten in death, but many people will remember him as a great son of Malawi for what he did in 1964 and 30 years to come during his lifetime. Reporting for ZBS in Lilongwe, this is Malik Munela.
In business news, Small and Medium Enterprises Association says 60% of the country's small and medium enterprises in the country have not seized the opportunity to use international banking services. President for Central Region SMEs, Mr. Andrew Chalamanda, made the observation at this year's SMEs Clinic in Lilongwe on Tuesday. Business captains are meeting in Lilongwe to share expertise and establish business partnerships. Sbongile Ziambo reports.
Malawi is one country that has a large part of our population involved in small-medium enterprises for survival. The SMEs provide the much-needed forex for this country, but also helps to improve the ailing economy. And as such, a lot of people are also involved in SMEs whilst working as well. The development entails that no country can expand on international trade without the involvement of small-medium enterprises. It is against this background that the Small and Medium Enterprises Association of Malawi organized a training for business gurus and SMEs in Lilongwe to share expertise and learn from each other. According to a survey conducted in 2012 by Small and Medium Enterprises Association of Malawi, 60% of SMEs have not been using international services, and as such, they are not able to borrow from banks to boost their businesses. President for Central Region SMEs, Mr. Andrew Chalamanda, told ZBS that SMEs should come in the open in terms of the business so that they should have more knowledge to run their businesses from the country's banks and not just hiding from the right organizations.
Lack of information, I think, is a very, very critical area in terms of the way most of the SMEs are operating. You agree with me that I think most of the SMEs are operating in hiding because they fear that maybe if they expose themselves, they would be exposing themselves maybe to things like a MRA, but with proper information as to what really happens on the ground, I think most of the SMEs would be able to access some facilities which are already there, set already by the government, but maybe just because people don't know that there are such type of facilities.
This year's SMEs Clinic is held under the theme Financial Management, a key to growth for small and medium enterprises, with support from FDH Bank. Sibongile Ziambo, Zodiac TV, Lilongwe.
Now to international news. Flooding in southern Morocco has killed 32 people and 6 others are missing after the heavy rains. Media reports say a girl of 9 who was among those who had been swept away by the raging waters of the Tamsut River. We have this report.
Around 100 mud brick homes were partly or totally destroyed, and 100 roads, including 6 national highways, were cut off in the floods. Flash floods are fairly common in Morocco, which is popular with tourists. Flooding around the ancient city of Marrakesh left tour buses briefly stranded, according to local media. Rescue operations saved 200 people in danger, among them 40 helped by Army and Royal Guard helicopters. About 130 all-terrain rescue vehicles and 335 inflatable boats and other vessels were being used to search for the missing. In the southern city of Guelmim, 24 people were killed by a flash flood that swept through a dry riverbed.
That item also concludes this edition of Zodiac News, but as we go, a recap of our main news. Public Accounts Committee of Parliament says the Reserve Bank of Malawi acted carelessly in the processing of cashgate checks. Tax evasion suspects Mr. Mpio and Mr. Lutepo to remain in police custody till courts become operational again. Malawi goes business as usual on a day when the country's founding President Hastings Kamuzubanda died some 17 years ago. Analysts lament the trend. And elsewhere, dozens killed in deadly flooding in Morocco. You've been with me, Twesa Takula. Thanks for watching and good night.